Hello, this is fucking weird. Not done a video in about 4 months, I think. I think my last one was sort of mid-February, so it's feels a bit strange, can't deny it. Yeah. Beard. Yeah, feels odd. Um, can't deny it. I've been really lazy. It's sort of laziness. You know that laziness that people talk about. I've had a bit of that, or quite a lot of that. I've not bought a whole lot up until about this last month, so I only had a small pile of stuff. So I'm not going to make a pickups video. And when it comes to other sorts of videos, I'm just sort of, like vlogs. I think there's enough of them going about. You don't need me chiming in as well. And my pickups videos pretty much take the place of vlogs anyway. And it's just other stuff. Certain things took the wind out of my sails. I had my email hacked. Not that had a sort of a weird. I think it was sort of hacked, but it sort of makes you go, oh shit, like that. I think it was one day I got a couple of texts like with it was like a confirmation code that I'd not requested, like a confirmation sort of security code not requested. I said, what the fuck is that? So I checked my emails and I had exactly the same code. So I'm thinking someone tried to access my email account. So I did a bit of digging and checked my account activity, and from that I could see loads of people from all over the world are trying to sync a phone app up with my email account, failing. I'm hoping they failed. It says they failed. It doesn't say they were successful. So, and that up to that point, I just decided to get a whole new email address. Not that should have any sort of relevance at all, but it just took the wind out of my sails. You know what I mean? Just generally, I was a bit like, oh shit. But other things just. Actually, think about it, these are all totally irrelevant. They should have no impact on me making YouTube videos at all. But it's just an excuse. In reality, I'm just too lazy. My mum's car was also broken into. There you go. That's another excuse. I know that took up sort of after that. Things like that, they take up sort of a disproportionate amount of your time and sort of brain power, don't they? So you can't think of doing other things. But anyway, yeah. What else has happened? Not that this stopped me making a video. I did tweet about it. I found a spider in a packet of crisps. Packet of Tyrrell's veg crisps. I really like them. I just really like them. They're like, like almost a bit like a roast dinner in a bag. Imagine, like a salty roast dinner. Until it was like, I thought one fell onto the sofa. I sat on the sofa just like chowing down, One fell onto the sofa next to me. I looked down. I thought, is that a hairy beetroot crisp? Turns out, no, it wasn't. It was a little black charred garden spider. One of the ones with a sort of fat body. And I went, ugh! Flicked it. And it left a little blob of something on the sofa next to me. And where it landed on the carpet after I flicked it, there was another blob. So it was all sort of juicy and disgusting. And it sort of... I tell you what, it's put me... I'm never going to eat Tyrrell's veg crisps again, or Tyrrell's crisps at all. It just... And I wish I got a photo of it, but my reflex was to pick it up and chuck it in the bin. So it was too late. But as a sort of side thing to that, I did come up with a good way of solving the obesity epidemic is to basically secrete lots of dead spiders in all food in all supermarkets. So everybody knows that they're there. Don't make a sort of a secret of it. Everybody knows that they're there, but there's only a few of them, but there's just the ideas there. So it will basically cut out all of the mindless sort of chowing. Like I'm a bit of a victim of that. You get a big packet of crisps and just go sort of blindly just chowing down. Whereas it helps you engage with your food if it's got spiders in it. Non-deadly spiders, nothing that's going to poison you or kill you. But it would make a difference, wouldn't it? But Yeah. Also, I didn't make a video because I've not bought a whole lot. I've had a load of CX credit. I've still got a game voucher. I had an Argos voucher that someone gave me for my birthday until I gave it to my dad for Father's. Today's Father's Day. I couldn't think of anything to get him, so I gave him an Argos voucher. I was struggling to use. Argos is so expensive. It's like a game. You know, if you haven't got a voucher that's like at least 30 quid, then you know, if I'd wanted a sort of a best of or like a greatest hits 3DS game, I would have been fine, but I didn't want them. But, yeah. So yeah. I can't think of much else that's gone on. Oh shit! Clearly, lots has gone on, but anything worth talking about? No. Right. Pickups. There's a few things I can't show you because they're downloads. I bought them just after my birthday. I discovered they were on sale on the PSN because I don't have. I could buy stuff on the Nintendo store because I've got a 3DS, but I don't have a PS4 or an Xbox. I can't buy downloads for them, so I had to buy it for my PS3. And some good games. A couple that I'd had on my eBay watch list for the PS3, but they were sort of a lot more expensive as hard copies. Dungeons and Dragons and Strider. I think if you put those two together, it'd cost you about 40 quid. Whereas on the PSN, they were £2.50 each. I also bought Persona, which is sort of like a £20-30 PSP game. And what was the other? Hardcore Uprising. It's part of the Contra series. So I think in total, if I'd bought hard copies of those, I'm guessing you can't get a hard copy of Hardcore. But if I'd been able to buy hard copies of those, I probably would have spent sort of like it's 70 quid. In the end, I spent a tenner on these 4 downloadable games. So, you know, I'm not massively into downloadable games, but in this instance, it made perfect sense because I'm cheap. But yeah, but weirdly, I've not played a whole lot of them because I did try the download, and I'd not used my PS3 for much other than watching Blu-rays, so I hadn't had to turn on my PS3 controller. So I hooked up the old one, or not the old one, the new one I bought. I bought a new one from a charity shop. It's like £3.50 or something, going back a few months. I think I showed it in my last pickups video, and I didn't know it was fucked. I had no idea it was fucked. I turned it on, I charged it up, and just generally my PS3 was going mental. It was just going all over the place. I was trying to sort of type something into the sort of my passcode or something, and it was just going all over the place, and I couldn't control it. And I've narrowed it down to the fact this PS3 controller I've got is possessed, and so I could use my PS3 Blu-ray controller and my other pad, but not this one. So it's basically junk. Unless somebody knows how to fix it, I wouldn't know because it sounds like it could be a software thing, or I don't know. It's such nice condition as well. So disappointing, but it's quite funny. I'm hoping it felt like it affected other things. I thought it might just be my PS3 because at the time I was I decided to stop using the pad and try to use the Blu-ray controller, but it was still doing it, and I'm narrowing that down to the fact that it was because the pad was still on and it was still just sort of going nuts. So I couldn't actually turn it off because it wouldn't let me turn it off at the time, and so I'm guessing that's why it felt like the Blu-ray controller was mental as well. So it wasn't the PS3 at all. It's just this controller. So disappointingly, I've got a junk controller. But anyway, so 4 downloadable games. I've struggled to play a bit of Strider because I was using this dodgy pad. It looks a very good game, but struggled to use it. The only other one I've played is using the old pad. It was Dungeons and Dragons. It was slightly disappointing. I didn't like I think I might have to take off. I prefer it to be a bit pixelated. It was a bit sort of smooth, the edges, which I didn't like, and it felt slightly cumbersome and not totally responsive. To the point I might even end up getting a hard copy. I'm hoping that might be better, but they're about sort of 25 quid. So, sorry. So yeah, slightly disappointing in that. It's just it's just a swelling beat 'em up. Good game. It looks a bit like Guardian Heroes, but yeah, it's slightly disappointing. But right, on to the games. No, actually not games. Blu-rays first. Films. A few of these. This first one in, for instance. Let me just. I've forgotten who it's by. Yeah, I thought so. I like the director. I bought this in a charity shop because it was in a cancer research. Oh, World Cup. I was going to talk about World Cup, but I can't be asked. No. I'm going to do this really quick. I'm going to try and make this really quick because the first World Cup game's on in about 35 minutes, and I've got a bit of a tradition of trying to watch as much of the World Cup as I can. It gets a bit tricky because sort of you have other things to do clearly, but when it comes to sort of things like weekends, I'll literally try and watch all of it and just sort of veg out. And it's just a bit of a tradition I've always had. It's since I became properly aware of the World Cup in like 86, maybe not 86, but early. I barely knew what was going on. I barely knew what time of day was. What day it was of the week when I was 9. Nearer, maybe 1990s more realistic, but yeah. So that's on. I'm not going to talk about it. VAR, no. Don't like it. Not a fan. It's just. I like the best games. Best football games are chaotic. I think all of those legendary games from the past, if VAR had been a thing, they wouldn't be as held in such reverence. Yeah, or they wouldn't be those legendary games if if VAR had been a thing. I mean, the Russian linesman, 1966 might not be a thing. The Hand of God might not be a thing. These are all things we've spoken about, and you've added in VAR, and it just takes the chaos out of it, and a lot of the fun. Even though it doesn't always go for you, sometimes it goes against. Often it goes against, but and even then, it's not foolproof. I've said I wasn't going to talk about VAR, and I have. It's still not foolproof, though, is it? There's still debate even after. So I think I can't. What's the point? But anyway, yeah. This film in a charity shop, I saw something really good. I actually tweeted a picture of the stuff that I bought at the time. I saw something really good in a charity shop, and it was sort of like blimey. And I didn't have any cash. I only had my card. And the old lady, she would have taken my card, but not for £1. She would minimum. She insisted on £2. So I had to go and find a film for £1, and this was the only thing I find. It's my guy called Michael Winterbottom, who I like. It's a film about, it's a documentary about Afghanistan. It's called In This World. It's actually really good. It's one of those things. No, it's not a documentary. No, it's not. Oh, there you go. No, yeah, it's about kids in Afghanistan. I think you've got a goat. You got a goat? I don't know. It's supposed to be good. It's something I've anyway, I've sort of been aware of in the past. Right, 2 Blu-rays from Poundland. I didn't get frisked this time. Didn't get frisked. No. I've learnt my lesson not to look suspicious in Poundland. Although conversely, that does sort of make me look more suspicious than I otherwise would have. But yeah, 2 films, 2 Blu-rays from Poundland. One I just wanted to have a go on because I like Woody Harrelson. It's called Rampart, and I'm pretty sure this is a good fit. He's sort of a dodgy, like corrupt cop, shady cop, and I just like. I think Woody Harrelson. His films, he picks good films and plays good roles, and often he's in, the films he's in are really sort of top quality, and so they're always, not always, but often, like you can't go far wrong with a Woody Harrelson film. He's in things like what was that drama he did, the cop drama. He was in the first series. It's supposed to be really good. I've not seen it. I think he was in it with Matthew McConaughey. Can't remember, but yeah. What's it called? It's like a murder thing. No. Sunday brunch, by the way. That's another tradition of mine. And the other one I bought two in Poundland at the time, and Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Not a brilliant film, but as I've said in the past, I've got a thing about doomsday films. I like them more than often they deserve to be liked, and this is one of those. You know, I've got a thing about films where sort of the world ends at the end. You know, I don't know what it is. There's sort of a certain honesty about them, or they sort of they make you reassess your life. You can't say that about any other genre, really, can you? So there you go. It's got a good soundtrack. It's got a really, really good song by Frank Black from the Pixies, one of his solo songs. 2 charity shop purchases. One of them did come with a load of games, but I think I've separated those out. 2 essentials. £3 for Blade Runner, the Final Cut. Final Cut? Or was it the Director's Cut? Oh, anyway. That's actually not a bad price for £3 for this. It's relatively expensive, and I think it comes with a DVD. Oh, shit. It comes with a DVD version as well. Does it? Yeah, it does. And, yeah, still not seen 2097. Is it 2097? 2049? Can't remember. Still not seen that. It's exactly right up my street, but annoyingly I've not seen it. It's just I'm really annoyed that I missed it in the cinema. But, yeah. I've got to be honest, this isn't a film I've seen a lot of. I've always enjoyed it when I've seen it. I can't even be 100% certain I've seen it all the way through from beginning to end. I think I have, but it's not one of these films I've seen. It's not like something like Aliens, for instance, where I've seen countless times. This is one that's I've maybe seen 1 or 2 times all the way through. I don't know, but I imagine it's the sort of film that looks something like a higher quality image adds a lot to it, like, for instance, a Blu-ray and even a 4K, but I'm not going the 4K route. I think that's a bit of a up at this point. It's a bit of a Emperor's New Clothes thing. It's slightly unnecessary. And another classic with one of the best ending shots in all of cinema, a brilliant theme tune, The Long Good Friday, one of the best Brit thrillers, crime thrillers. Great film. That end shot, I think, is that it? No, that's not it. That end shot is just amazing. It's got an early appearance by Pierce Brosnan in a gentleman's sauna, if you know what I mean. Although he's not paying a patron. Oh, I'm not going to give that away. I'm not sure. I won't give that. I might. Spoilers. Sorry. Right. These came with. I think this one came. This game here, first game, came with this. A bit of a bundle. I had a bit of an argument with the woman in a charity shop because they had this sign up saying DVDs. They were like six for a fiver or £1 each, I think it was, and then the Blu-rays were like 4 for a fiver or £1.75 each. I can't remember what it was. Blu-rays were £1.25 or 5 for a fiver. And DVDs. Oh, fuck it. Anyway, I didn't want 5 of anything. I just wanted to pick and choose, and so I had a bit of a discussion with the woman because like theoretically the Blu-rays should have been a certain price individually, or anyway. And no, games. It was games because I wanted a game. And she tried to change the offer right in front of me because the games were priced as Blu-rays. That was it. But the games were priced as Blu-rays, and she tried to change the offer. I thought, hey, what are you doing? And we had a bit of a discussion. In the end, I sort of like pretended, sort of pleaded ignorance, even though I knew she was more confused than I was. But in the end, she did end up confusing me. But this is a weird PSP game that I had actually tweeted a picture of because I tweeted a picture of it with. These all came on the same day. These two, and I didn't tell you about the game that the game that this came with in a charity shop. It was a sealed Pokemon 3DS game. It was something Arena Rumble something, and not a game I was interested in. So I bought it for £1 and traded it straight away. But same day, this came with these two. Does it? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Sorry, I'm confused. You must be confused as well. It came with this in this so-called offer. It wasn't really. Anyway, I'll get it out. A weird. It looks horrible by the front cover, but it's a strange, very odd PSP compilation pack. I say strange because it's got some bizarre, like odd games in it that you think I can't see them working on a PSP, but I don't know. This is not too common and relatively collectible. Not massively, probably about a tenner. But it's an EA compilation. I'm not a massive fan of EA, but in the past, some of their older games, undeniably are sort of classics. But it's got the whole Road Rash 1, 2, and 3. It's got Desert Strike and Jungle Strike. I don't think it's got Urban Strike. Yeah, Desert Strike and Jungle Strike. It's got Wing Commander and Wing Commander Secret Missions, which is just strange for a little PSP compilation. Then it's got things like Bob, Mutant League, as you can see, Mutant League Football. It's something called Budokan. I'm getting that. Looks like a sort of a. Pardon me. Excuse me. The thing is, when you drink, when your top lip, when your moustache is a bit lower than normal, you always get like you always have a little bit left over for when you're feeling a bit thirsty. You just go. Yeah. No, it's got weird things like, things are sort of, it's more suited to like old school PCs, like Syndicate or Amigas, or like Pinball. My cat. Piss off! He's going to keep doing that now. I know it's going to really wind me up. I have to ignore him. Haunting. The Haunting. And the weirdest one is Ultima, the Black Gate. I think it's Ultima 7 or Ultima 8. And I've watched an LP of that in the past by this guy called Kikoskia. And that game lasts sort of like 50 hours or something. It's crazy, and I can't imagine playing it on a PSP because it's one of these sort of isometric ones, really old school, sort of British RPGs, Ultima games, isometric, and I think it just makes it more interesting than it appears to be with this horrible orange sort of, orange sort of front cover. There's more interesting games in this than you realise. So yeah, it wasn't bad. That this one was a bit of a punt. I got slightly confused. I thought it was a game called, is it Kiar Dark Lineage on the PS2 that I don't have, which is slightly collectible, not massively. But this is Legends of K. It's worth about £1. I paid £1. It's worth about £1. But it looks like a sort of a solid sort of Zelda clone, like that sort of Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank type. And it looks all right actually. So I thought I'd keep it rather than, and it wouldn't get me any credit, maybe like 30p or something. So, I thought I'd take a punt, and the punt didn't really pay off, even though I'm left with a decent game. Right, another one that was a punt that didn't really pay off. Which is probably going to get traded. No, it was to be traded. Now I can't lie. I bought it to trade in. Yeah, where was it? That was in a charity shop. Yeah, 125. Had some other good stuff in it, but they were slightly over. They had a Wii U copy of Yoshi's Woolly World for a £5, which in hindsight I should have got, which is better value than this. This is 125. Animal Crossing. Let's Go to the City, and I've already got a copy, so I'm not gonna. It wasn't for keeping. And it turns out it might be better than my copy actually. I've not actually checked, but it turns out it'll only get me £2 in CX. So, 75p. I'm up. Worth it? I don't know. But it's a nice copy. In sort of first party Nintendo games, you always assume they're worth having, even when they're not. They're nice to see either way. I did leave some other things, so it's not like I'm depriving anyone of anything apart from I am this. Yeah, I'm sure there's other things I've written a little list of things I wanted to talk about, but I've pretty much covered everything on my list. Yeah, and this was in a cash converters. I bought this for to play with my niece because she's 6 or 7, 6, 5 or 6, 6. She's 6 now. I think she's 6, 7. I don't know. And we generally play Rayman Legends because I can help her through it. But I was always on the lookout for things that she might be able to play, and but I thought Wii Sports Resort, but I don't think she's that into these sorts of quite basic games. So it's only 50p. So this will get me a £4 in CEX. So I'm thinking she probably won't like it anyway. Even though I do have Wiimotes pluses now to play it, but I might give it a go. I mean, it's got golf and bowling from the old one, so I might give it a go just to see if it's worth keeping. But as it is, I'm erring on the side of trading it in because I like having a little stash of CEX credit handy, even though I struggle to spend it, as I said. So yeah, it was a nice nick. This was 50p, which is And right, these are charities. Next to charity shops. So I've got a really solid selection of 360 games. As I said, I've been struggling to spend my credit, and I've been looking at 360 games left on my list, and I'm just couldn't decide if I wanted to get something really, because I had about 130 quid at one time. Couldn't decide if I wanted to get something like a really top quality PS1 game like Mega Man X5, which is about 130 quid. In the end, I thought no, because that's overpriced. So, and in the end, I sort of ended up fritting it away, and I was thinking, shall I get some 360 games? There's a few I still want to get, like Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, and Injustice, the Ultimate Edition. What else was there? Resident Evil Revelations 2, things like that. Decent 360 games, but in the end, no, it's probably going to end up going on PS1 games because they're my priorities. I have my priorities, but aside from that, I've seen some random. I'm not buying too much random stuff now. I'm going a lot more for my list than maybe I would have done in the past, but I'm still buying random stuff. But it has to be properly worth it. It's, really things I really want. Although to be honest, this first one was a gamble. It's from a charity shop, Adventure Time. I know there's 3 of these on the 360. I know one of them's supposed to be a bit. The other one's supposed to be, and one of them's supposed to be. I think this is the good one. I think one of them's like a Zelda clone, and I think it's this one. I don't know. But I took a punt and looked it up, and this is the one that I think it's I looked on GameSpot and it got 6 or 7 out of 10. I think others were like 4 or 5. I might be wrong, but I know there's 3, and this is one of them. But this is the Zelda clone, so this is probably more my sort of game than the others. I can't remember the others are they like twin stick shooters? No, or just dungeon crawlers. More like Baldur's Gate, I think. Can get a bit repetitive, so this is probably more worth having for me. Yeah, and these next 3 were all on my list. This one wasn't. This was more of a sort of punt, a sort of a solid punt, good educated guess, so to speak. These next 3, all from charity shops and cash converts type shops. Transformers: Fall of Cybertron. I know there were 2. This was $2.50 in Suicide. These are good, solid games. A lot better than the crap that they released in conjunction with the Transformers films, the Michael Bay films, which are all, probably shitty as the films themselves. But these are more based on Generation 1, which appeals to me so much more than the newer stuff. Although actually, Megatron looks a bit different. Does he? No, these are based. These are based, aren't they? Yeah, these are based on. Yeah, this one was it War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. Yeah, sort of slightly Generation 1 type, and it's supposed to be rock solid. So they've always appealed to me. So you know, and I still want to get a War for Cybertron. And these are just a few titles on my very decreasing 360 list. So yeah, and that was £2.50 in a charity shop, and I knew that was a decent price, even though I think it's probably on about £4 now. And this one is there you go, £3 for Terraria. This is only £4. I know that much. But you know, I used to have Minecraft and just never really played it and traded it in. And I thought this is probably more. I know they're essentially the same game, but this is probably sort of more my sort of thing. But I don't know, it appeals to me more slightly. I think because I had a 360 version, I didn't like the idea it was sort of slightly sort of truncated, like edited, and the game world, which is part of the appeal of Minecraft, the game world isn't quite as big, and I think the game world is probably not quite as big in other versions of this. You know, having the 360 version, it's probably it's the same sort of thing, but for some reason, just the way it looks probably feels more acceptable. Does that make sense? Probably not, but anyway. And you know, I had to suck it up because you can't get this any other way than on 360 than a classics version. So, and yeah, always looks decent fun. Although, having said that, I'm not sure I'll get to play it because last time I played my 360 was going back a couple of weeks. I was playing Rayman Legends, and it froze a couple of times, and now I'm paranoid that it's on its way out. There's no red ring of death or anything, but now I'm just paranoid that this is the beginning of the end. But oh well. Right, last. This is the last random sort of out and about purchase. Another decent one on my list. Ultra Street Fighter 4. Don't know if you can see that. For £2 in a sort of a cash converters type shop. Yeah, isn't this sort of like this is sort of like Street Fighter 4? You know, like Game of the Year, isn't it? Of all the business on the disc. But you know, I'm not interested in the other ones. But I think this is all on the disc, and it's got the majority of it will be on the disc. It's got an Ultra Street Fighter 4 disc, so I'm guessing most of it is on the disc. So yeah, I don't need any other versions of Street Fighter 4. That's really the only one I wanted. So I don't really, honestly, have too many fighting games on my 360. Right. These are all sort of online purchases, eBay, and some purchases using CX credits that I travelled to check out. You know, you see things on this list, and you go, I'm going to have a look at that, and you go and check it out, and then you end up buying it. Because I've done a bit of that recently. As I said, I've been struggling to spend my CX credit. I've had 2 looks at 2 different copies of a Tombi 2 and rejected them because neither of them had the manual. I went to a branch in Rathbone Place, which isn't so tricky to get to, and then I went to another one in Stratford. The one in Rathbone Place wasn't brilliant, Nick, and it didn't have a manual anyway. Go away, you glowy cunt. Sorry, language. I get the impression, when I started my last video, I get the impression somebody, a few people, a few people unsubbed from me just because of how I started it. Got a bit shocked. Ooh! But yeah, don't unsub. I know that's generally what happens when you don't make a video for a long time and you make one, and then people go, I forgot I was subbed to this twat. Unsub. Please don't do that. I should have said that at the beginning. People can do that now. No one's gonna get to nearly 35 minutes into a video and then wait and see my appeal for clemency, are they? No, they're going to do it right at the beginning. But anyway, shit. You know, I'll take the consequences of my actions of not making a video for 4 months. Fuck off, you glowy motherfucker. That's what I don't get with this little webcam thing. Sometimes you go like David Bowie. Other times you don't. Right, yeah. I'd passed up 2 copies of Zombie 2 because they didn't have manuals, so disappointing. If anybody's interested, the one in Stratford's still there, and it's in nice nick, but it doesn't have a manual. And there is some knob on eBay who's got a Zombie 2 manual, but they keep relisting it for 30 quid plus postage. 30 quid, no one's buying it. Take the hint, drop the price. I think they're taking offers, but I bet they won't take much of an offer because they're insistent on relisting it for 30 quid. And 30 quid for a Zombie 2 manual. The game's about 65 quid. It's not a massively expensive game. It's 65 quid in CEX, which is a good price actually. But yeah, right. Couple of online punts. CEX punts, not using credit actually. This was just straight up cash. First one came with these 2. Look at this. 2 whacking great, and they've got loads of statics. They sort of stick together. It's weird. 2 massive. I mean, where am I going to stick these? Maybe little ones. I wouldn't even use little ones, but I'm going to stick them on my school bag, my satchel. Stick them on my bomber jacket. Yeah, that would make it really cool, wouldn't it? If anybody wants them, you can't have them. Right, yeah, online purchases. First one, recommended by Metal Jesus Rocks and his Hidden Gems. PS2. No, I was aware of it. I knew it. I was aware of it. But I'm sure. I think generally, I know people say, "Oh yeah, ever since anything appears on Metal Jesus Rocks Hidden Gem, the price goes up." I'm sure that's not the case. I don't think he's that influential. I don't think any of us are that influential. You know, people say they are, but fuck that. I mean, you know, otherwise everybody would know, all YouTubers. You know, we'd all be world famous if we had that much influence on the price of games. You know, I bet he could go to like a gaming market and walk around it, and no one would have the slightest bit of knowledge who he was. But anyway, yeah, this was on one of his recent PS2 Hidden Gems, and it's supposed to be sort of quite a decent little game. I think CEX had it for £2.50, and I bought it online, so I had to pay the extra £1.50, and so £4 was a decent price for this. I think it's about a £7 to £10 game, so you know it's definitely worth it. And it's called Tokabot Plus, and it's sort of not really Pikmin. It's more something like Mega Man Legends or Tron Bon. You have all these little robots, and it's probably more of a platformer than those, and not probably. Yeah, it's a slightly bland environments, but it's generally not a bad little game. But yeah, more of a platformer. The mechanic is that you go around with all these little robots, and they help the platforming, and you fight with them as well. You know, you wield them like weapons and things, and I think they morph into robots and things, and you can ride them around. It's just it's interesting. So I thought it was worth having in my PS2 setup. So I thought I'd have a go. And the thing is, yeah, it all of a sudden became very difficult to get hold of on CEX. There were none available, and I saw this one available, and I thought I'd take the punt. Because, you know, CX being CX, you have no guarantee what the quality is going to be like. But turned up, it's really nice. And I got 2 stickers to go with it as well. Bonus. But yeah, really nice nick. And some knob been going around complaining about Sorry, itchy bollocks. You want to know, don't you? Some knob been going around complaining about CX printing out sleeves. We really don't help ourselves, do we? We really don't help ourselves. There's a certain concessions you have to make for that argument to be legitimate. One is that you're an obsessive twat. Well, yeah, I am. I like stuff to be out, sort of to be, like perfecto mundo. But the worst one is essentially for that argument to hold about, printed out sleeves, is that you have to be as dumb as a bag of rocks to basically to not notice that it's a printed out sleeve, because they're clearly printed out sleeves. And if you get one with a printed out sleeve, just take it back. So I don't want a printed out sleeve, and they'll say, "Oh, sorry about that," and they'll give you your money back. Right? All I can think of is just for the views, wouldn't it? People love to bitch about them, but generally, they don't stand in your way if what they've given you isn't up to scratch. And if they present you with something in store, just say reject it. Say sorry, I don't want it. If it's not got a manual, if it's got a printed sleeve, say just it's not for me. Thank you very much. But yeah, there you go. It turned out a really nice nick. And this one, even better nick. This is quite an uncommon game. The UK version is. Sorry. Quite an uncommon game. Not too dissimilar from this, actually. It has certain similarities. See, look. Certain similarities to this. Not a game many people know of, but I've forgotten how I've heard about it a couple of years back and thought that's interesting, and been on the lookout for it for a while. And it's one of those games that never comes up in CX. When this occasion it did, I jumped on it. It was £6, I think. Can't remember, and so it's definitely worth a punt. It's not an expensive game. It's a game you can get. I think that seller, Mr. Sega, who goes to the London game market, I think he goes to other markets. He's an eBay seller. Has got a sealed copy, but it's a continental Spanish-English copy, sealed copy for £30. So it's not an expensive game, but it's just quite difficult to get hold of. It's from Essential Games. I think they're in a sort of subsidiary of D3 Publishing 505, so they always have low print runs. And they're sort of Japanese games that have short, sort of small releases. It's a game called Darwin, and it's basically a Pikmin clone. And there's a good reviewer on YouTube who's reviewed this. I've forgotten his name. He really goes into depth with it. He loved it, and he played through it 2 or 3 times for the review, so you can't really say fair on that, can you? If he's done that and he loved it, and he seems to know his stuff. What's his name? I'm sure if you find like a review for Darwin, you'll find him. But it's basically a Pikmin clone, but it's sort of based around sort of evolution. You start off as apes, and you evolve through humans, and you gain weapons and things, and you're this man, and all the apes evolve, and then technology evolves and things like this, and the bosses to fight. And yeah, this was I thought that's really interesting, and I took the punt on CX, and it turned up to a really nice nick. So people who moan about them, these two have both turned up, and they're really, I can't complain. So you just think, oh, you miserable bastards. It's always the it's the people who are going to moan about it who get all the shit. If you stop moaning, maybe things might work out better for you. Karma. I don't know. But yeah, this was really high on my list. This was one of the sort of top 2 or 3, just because it's sort of a bit interesting. And it's from, there you go. Look, Essential Games. Ones with those publishers. They're always uncommon, and they're always more collectible. They've got Zombie Hunters games is one of theirs. But right, 5 more games, all PS1. First 4 using credit. I've checked out a few PS1 games in CEX in recent months. trying to use this credit, and some I've rejected, some I've gone with. A couple of these are just, I'm surprised they weren't listed as mint, but even the guy in the shop was surprised because they were really nice nick. This one clearly isn't mint because it's got a slightly cracked case, but other than that, it's really nice nick. Just needs a cracked case. It's Doom, Final Doom, which is one on my list. Again, these are all working for my list, so I'm basically making progress, and that's another reason why I'm not buying so much, is because I'm trying to go more from this list that I've had for at least 10 years now. And it's still hundreds of games long. But yeah, Final Doom. I don't really understand how this differs from the other Doom. I think it's got lots of extras. Like there's a death match. There's a one-on-one death match, which I think is a bit odd. You can use a mouse with this, but I'm guessing it's just basically the original Doom with some bells and whistles. And this was £8, so, which is actually a nice. These are all well priced. Maybe this next one's sort of about on the money. This is listed as box, and it was £8, and then checked it out, and it is a really nice nick. Just a few cracks. There you go, a few cracks. But other than that, everything else is perfectly acceptable. So yeah, Final Doom. And similar game, Exhumed. This one was sort of tenner. That's probably about right, a tenner. But it meant I bought it in store, so it meant I didn't have to pay postage. Yeah, that was it. I bought these next two, this one and this next one, in a shop. Where was it? It was in CX in Welling, and it had been listed for ages, and I'm surprised both of them were still available. And I went in store, and because I knew they were in stock, and I was trying to find them, I couldn't find them, and then I had to go up to the counter and ask them if they actually had them, because it might have been just sort of an anomaly on their stock list. And the guy had to go and look for them, and he found them, and they were sort of buried. That's probably why, if they put them on the cabinet, maybe someone might have bought them, but they hide things away. I don't know why. There's a few games that I've had to ask for, and they don't know if they've got them. They go and find them, they bring them out. It's strange, but as I said, if they were on display, maybe people might buy them. But in this instance, it works to my benefit. But I don't like having to talk to people, so I didn't like having to ask. If it comes down to a choice of talking to someone and not talking to someone, I'll not. No, anyway, yeah. So this one's really nice nick. Maybe just needs a slight buff. No cracks or anything. Manual's almost perfect. Disc is, a good sort of 7 out of 10, 7 or 8 out of 10. So, yeah, sort of like a Doom clone with a sort of an Egyptian. Oh shit! It's gone 1 o'clock. Football started. Bollocks. Yeah, a sort of Doom clone with an Egyptian theme. It's supposed to be really good. This has been on my CX list and my eBay watch list. So this, a couple of the others. A couple of the downloadable games like Strider and Dungeons and Dragons have all been on my eBay watch list, and it's quite satisfying to tick them off. So my little number of eBay watch items gets smaller and smaller. It's quite satisfying. But yeah, Exhumed. Probably the last proper sort of RPG I wanted for the PS1. Grand Stream Saga. I can remember actually going back. It was 2010. I was in London with my mate, and we went to Game Focus, and I tried to buy this for £5, but he couldn't find the disc, and that was so essentially we sort of got history in this game. Not much of history, but yeah, it's an RPG. It's comparable to, I think the closest thing on the PS1 is probably Alundra 2. It's that sort of game, that sort of Zelda clone, but using sort of polygons like Alundra 2, which makes it infinitely less playable. So it'd be better if it was all sort of 2D sprites, but it's sort of the completist in me sort of wants it because it's sort of like an RPG. And this was £15, which is a good price as well, and it's in great nick, so which makes it even more worth it. So yeah, can't really say much. Combat looks a bit clunky. It doesn't look brilliant, but there's other things that appeal to me about this game, sort of like it has all the other RPG trappings and, you know, sort of like you know, dialogue and stuff like that, and you can walk around. I think you can walk around towns. I'm not 100% certain you can. Anyway, it was one I wanted. It was one on my list. I could tick it off both my list and my eBay watch list. And also, this one, I have got history of this one. It's Legacy of Kain. Where did I go to get this? Can't remember. 30 quid, which is a decent price. I used to own this. I think I had it for about a week. And traded it in because I wanted something else. I bought it originally. This is I'm talking about. I think I'm brand new to the mate. I think I might have bought it second hand, but I wanted it. I wanted to try it at least, and in the end, I'm not. I'll turn the telly over in a minute. It's sort of slightly oppressive the way it was all. You're a vampire and you have to keep topping up your blood. You have to stay out in the sun and stuff like that. I'm just thinking, oh, this is a bit grim and depressing. So when back at that age, it didn't really appeal to me. So I traded it in for something a bit more light-hearted and sunnier. But it's slightly gloomy. This game I found. Lots of blood stuff, but in the end I sort of grew up, and it's taken me until now to give it another shot. So yeah, again, this is another one. This is another one that's really nice nick. It just needs a sort of a case replacement. Annoyingly, this Exhumed and Final Doom are all cases that don't need holograms, which makes them more uncommon. And this one, an upgrade on a an upgrade. Chronocross Black Label. This ended up being about 15 quid or 16.50 in total. I think it was like 15 quid and £1.50 on top, so it's 16.50 in total. So I can sell on my other copy, my green label copy, and and I can sort of get most of my money back, and in the end this will end up costing me sort of about 15 quid in total. Yeah, it cost me exactly what I paid for it, because I can just sort of sell the other one and get my money back. So 15 quid is about a really decent price for this, and it's in really top nick. Really, it's a really good seller. Can't remember the guy's name, but really good seller. Really nicely packed, and this really just needs a bit of a buff. It's just a bit grubby, a bit take some of the scratches out, take some of the minor scratches out, and it'll be perfect. So as far as PS1 games go in condition, I've been a bit lucky, but there you go. Right, I'm going to go and watch the football. Thanks for watching. Feels nice to be back. Feels like old times. I'm not saying I'm going to be making loads of regular videos from now, but hopefully this will help me sort of kickstart me into making more. I've said I've been wanting to make gameplay videos for a long time, but never got around to it. Maybe that might happen, but I've got a few more games coming in the pipeline. I've still got my Series X credit to spend. I've got a PS1 game coming from Japan. On from eBay. Well, there's a bit of a story about it. I'm slightly pissed off. I've still got a £20 game voucher to spend. So, I will be buying a few games. And I'm still on the lookout for a modded PS2, so I can play these import games. So I can play this, and the one coming from Japan. But I keep missing out. I was sort of researching into the best chips, and apparently the Matrix Infinity is sort of the original, and the Modbos are clones of Matrix Infinity. So ideally, you'd want a Matrix Infinity, but Modbo 5 has is it USB support or something like that? I don't know. Anyway, that's what I've read. Not that it means anything to me. I've just read a load of people talking on forums who clearly know what they're talking about, and I'm just going. Anyway, right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go and watch football. So cheers. See you later.